From electrocuted hands to a moonwalking cop scraping cow dung off his shoes, Jackie Chan's Police Story pushed the boundaries of insane filmmaking in ways that would make modern insurance companies weep. The 1985 action masterpiece wasn't just a movie. It was a calculated assault on common sense, featuring stunts so dangerous that Chan stopped breathing, lights so hot they burned through his palms, and a screenplay literally written backwards around props and locations. Here are 15 weird facts you didn't know about Police Story. Fact 1. Born from Hollywood failure, Police Story wasn't just another Jackie Chan movie. It was born from pure frustration and disappointment with Hollywood. In 1985, Chan had just finished filming The Protector, an American action movie that was supposed to be his big break into the United States market. Instead, it turned into one of the worst experiences of his career. Director James Glickenhaus had a very different vision for what an action movie should be, and it clashed completely with everything Jackie Chan stood for as a performer and filmmaker. Glickenhaus wouldn't let Chan choreograph his own fight scenes, which was like asking a master chef to microwave someone else's frozen dinner. Even worse, the director filled The Protector with excessive violence, graphic nudity, and constant swearing, all things that went against Chan's family-friendly image that had made him a superstar in Asia. Chan was so dismayed by the finished product that he actually walked off the set at one point and only returned because he was contractually obligated to finish the film. When The Protector bombed at the box office in both America and Hong Kong, Chan knew he had to do something dramatic to prove his worth. He decided to create his own cop movie, one that would be made entirely his way with his own stunt team and his own rules. That movie became Police Story, and Chan poured all his anger and determination into making it the exact opposite of The Protector. He wanted to show Hollywood and the world what a real Jackie Chan action film looked like when he had complete creative control, and the result became one of the greatest action movies ever made. Fact 2. The script was written backwards. Most movies start with a screenplay that tells a complete story, and then the director figures out how to film the action scenes based on what the script requires. Police Story flipped this entire process completely upside down in a way that would make traditional Hollywood screenwriters shake their heads in confusion. Screenwriter Edward Tang has openly discussed how Jackie Chan gave him a very unusual assignment when they started working on Police Story together. Instead of asking Tang to write a compelling story about a cop chasing criminals, Chan simply handed him a list of specific things he wanted to see in the movie. This list included a shopping mall, a village setting, a bus, and comedy elements scattered throughout the film. Chan basically told Tang to take these random props and locations and then build an entire story around them, which is the exact opposite of how movies are normally written. In traditional Hollywood screenwriting, you create characters and plot points first, and then you decide what locations and props you need to tell that story effectively. But Chan's approach was more like giving someone a box of random ingredients and asking them to invent a recipe that uses all of them. Tang had to reverse engineer the entire narrative so that it would naturally lead the characters to a shopping mall for the climax, take them through a village for the opening action sequence, and involve a bus chase somewhere in the middle. This backwards method of screenwriting meant that the story existed purely to serve the action set pieces rather than the other way around, and it gave Chan complete freedom to design the most elaborate and dangerous stunts he could imagine without being limited by what the script demanded. Fact 3. Chan stopped breathing. During filming, Jackie Chan has performed thousands of dangerous stunts throughout his career, but one particular moment during Police Story was so severe that it literally stopped him from breathing and required immediate hospitalization. During the filming of the massive shopping mall fight sequence, Chan had to perform a stunt where his character flips over a balcony railing and crashes through an elaborate display of glass panels and decorative lights. This wasn't just a simple fall onto a padded mat like you might see in modern action movies with extensive safety equipment and multiple takes to get it right. Chan actually launched himself over the balcony and crashed through real glass and lighting fixtures with minimal protection, trusting that his body could handle the impact and that he could roll properly to avoid the worst of the damage. The impact was far more brutal than anyone expected, and when Chan hit the ground after smashing through all that glass and those light fixtures, something went terribly wrong with his body's ability to function normally. He stopped breathing entirely, which sent the entire film crew into a panic as they realized their star and director might be seriously injured, or worse. The medical team on set rushed to help him, and Chan had to be taken to the hospital immediately for treatment and observation. The fact that this stunt nearly killed him makes it even more remarkable that the finished film shows him getting up and continuing to fight in the very next scene, as if nothing serious had happened at all. This incident serves as a stark reminder of just how dangerous Chan's commitment to practical stunts really was during this era of filmmaking. Fact 4. The lights were electrified death traps. The most iconic stunt in Police Story is undoubtedly the moment when Jackie Chan slides down a multi-story pole covered in decorative Christmas lights during the shopping mall finale. But what most viewers don't realize is that those lights were essentially electrified torture devices waiting to burn him. The production crew wrapped the tall metal pole with strings of real incandescent light bulbs, the old-fashioned kind that get extremely hot to the touch when they've been turned on for any length of time. Even more dangerously, these lights weren't powered by low-voltage car batteries that would have been much safer for a stunt performer to interact with during such a high-speed descent. Instead, the crew plugged the entire lighting setup directly into the building's wall electricity because a standard battery simply didn't have enough power to make all those bulbs shine brightly enough for the cameras. This decision meant that when Chan grabbed onto that pole and slid down through all those bulbs at high speed, he was essentially dragging his bare hands across hundreds of hot glass surfaces that had been heated by full electrical current. The combination of the intense heat from the bulbs and the friction from his rapid descent resulted in second-degree burns across both of his palms, which are the kinds of burns that penetrate deep enough to damage blood vessels and nerve endings. As if the burned hands weren't bad enough, the impact when Chan finally hit the ground at the bottom of the pole was so forceful that it dislocated his pelvis and caused a serious back injury that could have potentially paralyzed him if things had gone just slightly worse. Fact 5. Buddhist prayer paper. In his pants. Just before Jackie Chan prepared to attempt the most dangerous stunt of his entire career, one of his trusted stuntmen approached him for what would become a deeply personal and touching moment that reveals how terrified everyone on set actually was about what was about to happen. Chan has spoken in interviews about how scared he felt standing at the top of that shopping mall, looking down at the pole wrapped in lights, and knowing that he was about to jump onto it and slide several stories down with no safety wires, no harnesses, and no second chances to get it right. The stuntman who approached him clearly understood the gravity of the situation and wanted to offer whatever protection he could, even if it was only spiritual rather than physical. He gave Chan a warm hug, which must have been both comforting and sobering, given that everyone knew this could potentially be the last time they saw their friend and director alive if something went catastrophically wrong during the stunt. Then the stuntman handed Chan a small piece of Buddhist prayer paper, which is a traditional talisman that many people in Asian cultures carry for spiritual protection and good fortune during dangerous or uncertain times. Chan accepted the paper gratefully and tucked it carefully into his trousers, keeping it close to his body as a source of comfort and hope that he would survive what he was about to do. This quiet moment of superstition and faith happening, just seconds before one of cinema's most spectacular stunts, shows that even someone as fearless and experienced as Jackie Chan needed a little extra reassurance before risking his life for the sake of entertainment. Fact 6. The mall had a morning deadline. The entire shopping mall finale sequence in Police Story took several months to film because of the incredible complexity and danger involved in coordinating so many elaborate stunts in a real working shopping center. Jackie Chan has estimated in interviews that his crew had been shooting in that mall for what felt like an eternity, setting up different fight choreography and carefully planning each piece of destruction that would eventually total hundreds of shattered glass panels and completely wrecked store displays. By the time they finally got to the climactic pole stunt that would serve as the grand finale to the entire sequence, the production had pushed their filming schedule right up against the absolute limit of what the mall management would allow. As Chan stood at the top of the mall preparing to make his death-defying slide down that light-covered pole, he could see through the windows that the sun was beginning to rise over Hong Kong, which meant that morning was rapidly approaching and the mall would need to open its doors to regular shoppers in just a few hours. The crew was under tremendous pressure from the mall owners to finish filming and clean up all the broken glass and debris before the first customers arrived, which added an extra layer of stress to an already incredibly dangerous stunt that had no room for error or multiple takes. This time crunch meant that Chan couldn't afford to hesitate or second-guess himself, even though he was terrified, because they simply didn't have the luxury of waiting for better conditions or taking extra time to set up additional safety measures. Fact 7. Film's nickname was Glass Story. While the movie was officially titled Police Story when it hit theaters, the exhausted production crew who spent months filming the shopping mall sequence had their own unofficial name for the project that perfectly captured the sheer scale of destruction they were creating. They started calling it Glass Story as a joke, and the nickname stuck throughout the entire production because it was such an accurate description of what they were actually making. The shopping mall fight scene features an absolutely mind-boggling amount of shattered glass, with stuntmen being thrown through store windows, display cases being smashed to pieces, and decorative glass panels exploding in every direction as Jackie Chan and the villains battle their way through multiple floors of the building. The production used sugar glass for these stunts, which is a special type of breakaway material made from sugar that looks exactly like real glass on camera, but is designed to shatter safely when people crash through it. Even though sugar glass is safer than actual glass, it's still not completely harmless and can cause cuts and injuries if things go wrong. The crew had to order and install what seemed like an endless supply of these fake glass panels, only to watch them all get destroyed take after take as they work to capture the perfect shots. Some estimates suggest that the production went through hundreds of individual panes of sugar glass during the filming of just this one sequence, which explains why the crew felt like they were making a documentary about breaking glass rather than a police action movie. Fact 8. A metal umbrella saved the bus scene. One of the most memorable stunts in Police Story shows Jackie Chan desperately hanging off the side of a speeding double-decker bus using nothing but an umbrella hooked onto the vehicle's exterior, with his body being whipped around violently as the bus barrels through Hong Kong traffic. What audiences don't see in the finished film is that Chan and his team went through multiple failed attempts to get this stunt right because of a very simple but dangerous problem with their original prop choice. Chan initially tried to perform the stunt using a regular wooden umbrella, which seemed like it would work perfectly fine during the planning stages when they were just testing the concept at slower speeds. However, once the bus started moving at full speed and Chan's entire body weight was pulling down on the umbrella handle while wind resistance pushed against him from every direction, the wooden umbrella kept slipping and losing its grip on whatever part of the bus Chan was trying to hook it onto. This slipping problem was incredibly dangerous because it meant Chan could potentially fall off the moving bus and get seriously injured or killed if the umbrella came loose at the wrong moment. After several nerve-wracking test runs that clearly weren't working, someone on the crew suggested switching to a metal umbrella instead, which would be much stronger and less likely to slip or break under the extreme forces involved in this stunt. Chan agreed to try the metal umbrella, and it made all the difference in the world by giving him a secure grip that could actually hold his weight throughout the entire sequence. Fact 9. The moonwalk cow dung scene Police Story contains what might be the strangest and most unglamorous use of Michael Jackson's iconic moonwalk dance move in the entire history of cinema, and it happens during a comedic moment that has absolutely nothing to do with dancing or music. During one scene in the film, Jackie Chan's character accidentally steps in a pile of cow manure while walking through an area where livestock are being kept, which is exactly the kind of gross mishap that can happen in the rural or less developed parts of Hong Kong where some scenes were filmed. When Chan realizes what he stepped in and looks down at his shoe covered in animal waste, He needs to figure out how to scrape it off without making an even bigger mess or using his hands to touch the disgusting substance. Instead of simply wiping his shoe on the ground in a normal forward motion like most people would do, Chan spontaneously decides to perform a perfect moonwalk, sliding his soiled shoe backward across the pavement in that distinctive gliding motion that Michael Jackson had made famous just a few years earlier. The moonwalk technique actually works brilliantly for this purpose because the smooth backward sliding motion allows Chan to scrape the cow dung off his shoe while maintaining his balance and keeping the mess contained to one area. What makes this moment so memorable and funny is the complete absurdity of seeing this world-famous martial arts move being used not for entertainment or artistic expression, but purely as a practical solution to a very mundane and unpleasant problem involving animal feces. Fact 10. The bus window accident, one of the most painful-looking stunts in Police Story's opening sequence, happens when two villains come crashing through the upper window of a double-decker bus and fall all the way down to the pavement below, hitting the concrete with a sickening impact that makes audiences wince every time they watch it. This brutal-looking moment wasn't actually supposed to happen the way it appears in the finished film, and the fact that it made it into the movie at all is the result of a mechanical malfunction that could have seriously injured or killed the stuntmen involved. The original plan called for the two stunt performers to crash through the bus window and land on top of a car that was positioned directly next to the bus, which would have cushioned their fall somewhat and made the stunt significantly safer, even though it still would have been quite dangerous. The crew carefully positioned the car right up against the side of the bus to minimize the distance the stuntmen would have to fall and ensure they would hit their intended target. However, when the bus driver engaged the vehicle's air brakes at the exact moment the stunt was being performed, the sudden release of compressed air caused a mechanical reaction that created an unexpected gap between the bus and the car. This meant that instead of landing on the relatively softer surface of the car's roof as planned, the two stuntmen went flying through empty air and crashed directly onto the hard pavement below, resulting in a much more dangerous and painful landing than anyone had anticipated. Fact 11. Stuntman Blackie Ko's motorcycle. Double Jackie Chan has built his entire reputation on performing his own stunts no matter how dangerous they might be, which is why it comes as such a surprise to learn that he actually used a stunt double for at least one sequence in Police Story. The stuntman who stepped in to replace Chan was Blackie Ko, a highly skilled and experienced member of the Hong Kong stunt community who had worked on numerous action films throughout his career and knew exactly how to handle dangerous motorcycle work. The specific stunt that required a double involved Chan's character riding a motorcycle at high speed directly through multiple panes of glass while heading straight toward a hitman who needed to be taken down during the climactic shopping mall fight sequence. This particular stunt was considered so risky that even Jackie Chan, who had already proven his willingness to hang off buses and slide down electrified poles, decided that having someone else perform it would be the smarter choice. The danger came from the combination of factors involved in the stunt, including the need to maintain precise control of a motorcycle while crashing through glass barriers, the risk of serious cuts from the shattering glass, even if it was the safer sugar glass variety, and the challenge of hitting the exact right trajectory to make the stunt look convincing on camera while also avoiding a collision that could result in severe injuries. Blackie Ko successfully pulled off the motorcycle stunt, and his work was seamlessly edited into the film in a way that most viewers would never notice wasn't actually Jackie Chan performing the action. Fact 12. He drank beer, then filmed another movie. Jackie Chan's work ethic during the 1980s was so intense that it bordered on absolutely insane, and nowhere is this more apparent than in what he did immediately after completing the most dangerous and painful stunt of his entire career. After Chan slid down that electrified pole and suffered second-degree burns on both palms along with a dislocated pelvis and serious back injury, most people would have gone straight to a hospital and then taken several weeks or even months off to recover from such severe trauma. Instead, Chan and his exhausted crew wrapped up the filming of that final Police Story sequence and decided to celebrate the fact that they had survived and successfully captured the shot they needed. At 6 o'clock in the morning, Just as the sun was fully rising over Hong Kong and the mall was preparing to open for regular business, Chan sat down with his team and cracked open a beer to toast their accomplishment, despite the fact that his hands were badly burned and his body was screaming in pain from the fall. Most remarkably, Chan didn't go home to rest or seek medical treatment after this celebratory beer at dawn, but instead went directly to another film set where he was scheduled to work on a completely different movie called Heart of the Dragon. He showed up ready to perform in film scenes for this second production on the very same day that he had nearly died and suffered multiple serious injuries, which shows just how committed Chan was to meeting his professional obligations and keeping multiple film productions running on schedule, regardless of his personal physical condition. Fact 13. Made on a tiny budget when you watch Police Story and see the massive destruction of an entire shanty town, hundreds of shattered glass panels in a shopping mall. Elaborate stunt work involving buses and motorcycles, and months of filming in expensive locations, you would naturally assume that this movie must have cost millions and millions of dollars to produce. The reality is almost unbelievable when you compare the film's modest budget to the incredible spectacle that ended up on screen. Police Story was made for approximately $500,000, which even back in 1985 was considered a relatively small amount of money for an action film with such ambitious set pieces and dangerous practical stunts. To put this in perspective, many Hollywood action movies from the same era were spending 10 or 20 times that amount just on special effects and pyrotechnics, while Chan and his team were creating real practical stunts and building entire sets that would be completely destroyed during filming. The film went on to earn over $18 million at the box office when you add up its earnings from Hong Kong, Taiwan, Japan, South Korea, and various European markets, which represents a return of roughly 36 times the original investment. This kind of profit ratio is almost unheard of in the film industry, especially for an action movie that required so much physical production value and put so many people at risk during the filming process. The success proved that Jackie Chan's approach of doing real stunts with minimal safety equipment and relying on practical effects rather than expensive post-production work could create a blockbuster hit without requiring a massive Hollywood-style budget. Fact 14. Jackie Chan sang the theme song. Jackie Chan's involvement in Police Story went far beyond just the typical responsibilities of a director and star, extending into nearly every creative aspect of the production, including the music that audiences would hear during the opening and closing credits. Chan personally performed the film's theme song, which was titled Hero Story, singing it himself, despite not being primarily known as a professional vocalist in the way that some other Hong Kong actors of that era were. The song became an unexpected hit with audiences who connected with its energetic and heroic tone that perfectly captured the spirit of Chan's on-screen character and the film's overall message about dedication and sacrifice. What's even more remarkable is how this theme song took on a life of its own that extended far beyond the movie itself and became deeply embedded in Hong Kong's popular culture. Between 1994 and 2004, a popular Hong Kong television series called Police Report decided to adopt Jackie Chan's Hero Story as their own official theme song, which meant that every single episode of this long-running show opened with Chan's voice singing the tune he had originally created for Police Story. The song's association with law enforcement and heroism became so strong that the actual Hong Kong police force started using segments of Hero Story in their televised recruitment advertisements, hoping that the inspiring and action-packed feeling of the music would encourage young people to consider careers in law enforcement. This widespread adoption of Chan's theme song turned it into something much bigger than just a movie soundtrack, transforming it into an unofficial anthem for Hong Kong police culture. Fact 15. The pole stunt appears 3 times. Most movies follow strict rules about maintaining continuity, which means that each action should only be shown once from a single perspective before the story moves forward to the next moment. But Jackie Chan deliberately broke this fundamental filmmaking rule in Police Story's climactic sequence because he was so incredibly proud of what he had accomplished with the pole slide stunt. When audiences watch the shopping mall finale, they see Chan grab onto that light-covered pole and slide down through multiple stories of the building, crashing through glass and exploding light bulbs before hitting the ground in a spectacular display of practical stunt work. Instead of showing this death-defying moment just once and then continuing with the story, Chan made the unusual decision to replay the exact same stunt 3 times in rapid succession, with each repetition filmed from a different camera angle, so viewers could fully appreciate the danger and complexity of what they were witnessing. This technique is extremely rare in narrative filmmaking because it completely shatters the illusion of continuous action and reminds the audience that they're watching a constructed piece of cinema rather than a seamless flow of events. Chan's decision to repeat the stunt wasn't just about showing off or padding the film's runtime, but rather served as a bold artistic statement about the value of real physical stunts performed by actual human beings risking their lives for entertainment. By forcing audiences to watch the same incredibly dangerous moment 3 times from 3 different perspectives, Chan was essentially saying, "Look at what I actually did here. This is real and not some camera trick or special effect, and I want you to truly understand and appreciate the risk involved."